Offsiders, welcome to another episode of Offside Talk. I'm your host, Emin, as always. I'm with my co-host, Fatih.
Hello.
And Umar.
Yes.
Guys, last week, quite a big achievement for us here at Offside Talk. We had over 1,000 views on one of our videos. Thank you very much. We had a whole bunch of comments as well that we will be hitting up a little bit later in the show. Just a reminder, guys, if you guys can hit that subscribe button, I mean, if we get a small portion of those views turning into subscribers, it'll be a massive help for us. A huge thank you in advance for all the people who watched this video and who've supported us so far. Just on the news front, we've got some updates on the Newcastle United Takeover, which you guys have been following closely for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to hand it over to Fatih, who's got all the news for us.
Hello there. Hello, boys, again. The Newcastle United agenda has been massive for us, actually. Thank you to all the Newcastle United supporters that left all their comments and all their views, especially counteracting what we said last week. I'd like to also welcome back Emin from his Corona trip. Now, just before we get into it, a lot of the commentary that was left by the supporters and their reactions was all positive of the takeover itself. So there was no bad blood or anything like that. Obviously, in the end, there was a few that obviously don't like the Saudi prince himself due to his political agenda, but we're here to speak about football. Now, a lot of the feedback that we receive from their supporters is they love Steve Bruce, but they don't think that he should be there if this takeover does happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of the commentary also supported Rafa Benitez to come back, and also with the new manager as well, being Posh himself, considering that the money that they would have. So we had one user on YouTube, Uggy Bear. Okay, Bruce, nice guy, but no way we keep him on. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory on his view. Phil K 1080. Now, he shared his views on the tough times and is happy to be patient in the rebuilding of the club. I think that's something that you would go through if you spend nearly £300 million to buy a club. You can't just expect instant success. Just shout out to the Newcastle United videos page on YouTube as well. Just to summarise, they want to maximise potential. We need the best of everything, including a manager. So I think that's all pointing towards the direction of no more Steve Bruce, Posh and Rafa to be brought in. Before we just get into just a bit of a quick update, you reckon that's the route that they should be taking? Steve Bruce out and Rafa or Posh, or even just a world-class manager. We'll start with you, Ohms.
If they were to do that, that's too harsh. That's way too harsh.
But would you trust Steve Bruce with £200 million war chest?
I don't know, man. Like, you can't just push him out. It's not fair, man. Like, you never know. Like, he might surprise a lot of people. You never know. But I've said it before. Rafa Benitez should have never got rid of him. He like we spoke about it last week. He's done awesome. He did awesome with the team he had. With, like I said, I had more money in my pocket than Newcastle's. Freaking that tight ass Mike actually was investing into that club.
So you're saying keep go more Rafa direction rather than Posh?
I think so. Obviously, yeah, both awesome options. But we had this discussion last week again. He's had those players. He did well with them with what he had, and with proper backing, I reckon he can go further with that club.
Okay, Ems.
Look, I understand Ohms to a certain degree that it's unfair to get rid of someone, but at the same time, you're spending big money on this club, massive takeover. Fans obviously have huge expectations. I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I think, Fatih, you were talking about it last week, saying that these managers are available right now. And come mid-season, you see that, the job's not getting done. Are they still going to be available? Do you take that risk and play out half a season knowing it's not working out? So I think with the money needs to come big decisions need to be made, and I think a decent coach is one of them.
100%. I agree with the whole manager change here. I'll probably lean towards Rafa Benitez more than Maurizio himself. Only because Rafa's just more familiar with the club, familiar with the staff. He's been there before, and the crowd did love him. Now imagine backing up with a massive war chest. So, yeah, I pretty much agree with majority of the Newcastle supporters there. Regarding the takeover itself, the media, I think the media is just trying to add a lot of spin to it until it's actually being agreed upon and stuff like that. There's a bit of an issue currently with... Now, I've only just started reading into this. I don't think many people actually know about all this stuff. So, there's an issue with piracy, obviously, worldwide, whether it's football, movies, etc., etc. Now, there's a site, or a channel, I should say. It's called... I'm going to pronounce it as BeoutQ, but it's spelled out BeoutQ. So I'm guessing it's BeoutQ or BeoutQ, whatever you want to call it. Now, they've been heavily going head-to-head with a lot of sporting franchises around the world. Now, they've only just recently come onto massive headlines because literally everyone's suing the crap out of them. Now, this is a Saudi-based channel company. Now, to the point where it's actually been backed by a satellite provider. So these guys, backed by Arabsat, are broadcasting games without anyone's permission. So literally no one's permission. Now this goes back because obviously with the Middle East turmoil between Saudi and their allies and Qatar and how they blocked it out. Don't want to get full into the political world, but obviously, we know beIN Sports is from Qatar. So
I was going to say the name is so ironic, man.
So beIN Sports obviously
Beout.
holds majority of the footballing rights across the entire Middle East, and they're trying to put their footprint pretty much in football world. Now, ever since that's been happened, a new channel has come up. Now, this channel is illegal to begin with, like from the get-go. It's literally a piracy channel, to the point where they did have the 2018 Champions League final, like with no broadcasting rights whatsoever. They just played it.
That's amazing.
They did the NBA finals. They did the World Cup, and F1 and everything. To the point where, from a legal standpoint, FIFA, the F1, the UEFA, La Liga, and all the governing bodies of world tennis, just them, have all tried to sue this company.
Sounds like Mia Khalifa.
It's
Why are they
literally-
trying? I mean, like, they should be suing.
Because of the way that the Saudi company is backed, and because they're you can actually go into a store and buy like what you do a Foxtel set-top
box.
Yeah, like an actual box from a normal company. Like you could go to JB Hi-Fi or something and buy a box from them that's for this company. So it's not like, you hire some guy that lives under a bridge somewhere and he comes out and installs a satellite on your house. You can actually, it's legal. You go on, you turn it on, you activate it and everything. And I think a lot of pressure is coming down on the Saudi government themselves to actually step in and close this. But I don't think anything's actually happening because this has been actually going on for 4 or 5 years now. So this is not something new. Like if you're playing the 2018 Champions League final, it's already been 2 years.
So how's this affecting the Newcastle takeover?
Now, from a Newcastle point of view, they're trying to put pressure on the Prince himself or the Saudi-based company to resolve this issue before they'll let anyone come into the Premier League themselves. Now, I feel like the media is trying to spin this as much as possible, but in my opinion, I think money talks, and that the company back to buy Newcastle United will buy them as per normal. But the spin to this is just so funny because if this was happening in another country, you'd be sued out of your arsehole pretty much. Okay. And it came to the point, like, this is how bad it's become. Like, the beIN Sports actually declined to renew its F1 deal, so the Formula One, because everything that they're showing is on this channel. So it's affected that sport in general. Now, how it affects from a footballing perspective, if beIN Sports is no longer wants the Premier League rights, this is a massive loss amount of money for the Premier League itself, which then results in obviously downgrading money, downgrading clubs, revenue, and everything. Like, it just works down the chain, all because one channel wants to just show the games without it paying for anything, pretty much. My opinion, I don't think it's going to affect it at all, but yeah, I think the media is just trying to spin on this as much as possible until the actual takeover is done themselves. Besides that, there is no actual proper update on the Newcastle. There's just the media just trying to find add the most spin as possible on this. So if you're in there, in the Arab Peninsula, I should say, and you get BeoutQ, let us know. Let us find out what this channel actually has,
And show us how to use it.
and show us how to use it.
We do not endorse piracy on this channel.
Yes, we recommend you buying all the content as much as possible. Before we move into the massive topic, Em, you got one about Arsenal's new kit and how it's going on social media currently.
Yeah, look, even with stuff that's leaked where Arsenal's not doing it on purpose, it seems like they're finding a way to just be ridiculed. The new thing is there's been a leak of the Arsenal kit. One of the websites, I can't remember now, that's renowned for leaking kits before Nike or whoever does.
Footy Headlines?
I don't think it was Footy Headlines. I think it was another one.
It could have been Footy Headlines.
Yeah, look, I'm not 100% sure. It could have been Footy Headlines. But here's the kit up here for you guys to have a look at. It's being ridiculed because some fans are trying to work out what the hidden meaning behind this is. So some of the stuff that they've come up with is, well, this is a bit more official, but apparently it resembles the marble halls of Highbury. But people have come out and said that, it's more like it represents how Arsenal gets smashed out of the top four every season. It's apparently there to scare the opposing teams so that Arsenal could start winning some away games. So I just wanted to ask the people who tune into the show, what do you guys think it's representing? We'd love to see your comments on there. Look, there's nothing too ridiculous, so please let us know, and we can probably discuss what you guys come up with next episode.
I don't think it's the worst jersey in the world. Like I can understand the comedic gesture towards it, but I don't think it's that bad. Like
it's pretty shit.
I feel like there's no thought. There's been no thought that's gone into it. I mean, you get a white jersey and just like randomly throw some red paint on it or something like that. It's very simplistic in my opinion.
Very hippie art.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, it does look like someone's just like clawed out something in their chest. I don't know. It's just very absurd. If this actually is their kit, I wouldn't be too happy about it as an Arsenal, if I was an Arsenal supporter. Of course, we could ask the Ruthless Gooner, see what he thinks about it. If you're watching this show, let us know down in the comments what you think of the jersey. Any Arsenal supporters, we're up for anything. You want to ridicule it, you want to stand up for it, please let us know in the comments section.
All right, we'll hear back from the Arsenal supporters hopefully about that one. Now, just before we get into the big news about the Premier League, we still have the massive German Bundesliga that's still going, or that just recently started as well, and we had a massive game this weekend, Ems. Dortmund versus Bayern. Bayern grabbing all 3 points in that one. Yeah,
well, look, it's the game that was going to determine pretty much who's going to go through. Obviously, Bayern's in front, but if Dortmund had won this game, they would have closed the gap to 1 point. Look, Dortmund were missing in the first half. Like, there wasn't too many chances for them. Bayern's goal, the chip over, like,
That was a class goal. Though.
It was a class goal, but the keeper had, I don't know, it seemed like he got enough glove on it to save it. It's just like, I don't know. I think another shot that was taken like that, he could have probably taken out. In my opinion, I think it was a lazy attempt to make a save, but it was a class goal. Don't get me wrong. It's beautifully calculated, beautifully put into that position that the keeper couldn't get it. First half, I think Dortmund were missing Ohms.
Yeah.
Second half, they had a couple of chances. There was Haaland's strike that deflected, that could have ended up. But then again, you had Lewandowski coming off the post late in the second half that could have made it an even bigger gap. So, I don't know. Is it too early to call that it's a Bayern championship this season?
I wouldn't be surprised because they're known to fucking bottle it how many times. They did it last season. Look, to be honest, that game could have went either way. Even though obviously Dortmund, they were on top more than Bayern were on top of Dortmund. But you had Haaland, he had a few opportunities. He beat, I think he beat the keeper, didn't he, at one time?
Yeah, but it just went out.
And then it just could have finished them better. Fucking Bayern Munich, can't stand them. They just irritate me.
Oh, look, just at that game itself, you have to give much credit to this new youngster. He's an amazing left back at the moment. It's Alphonse Davies. He's a gun, absolute weapon of a left back for Bayern Munich. Now, he recently re-signed a contract with Bayern Munich, and it's a steal for them. Like, this guy's, I think he clocked trying to chase Haaland down like 35 or 36 kilometers an hour. So he is a speedster freak. Even speaking from watching him pretty much destroy my club itself during the Champions League, he's the reason why they won 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. Don't look at the goals itself. Just his runs down the left flank and his ability to recover back so quickly. If you said to me he's going to be a £100 million defender in the future, I would say, man, I'm not surprised. Yeah. Because I think he's 21, 22 now, and he's an animal. And to be fair, I think he's Canadian based, so he's going to be playing for the Canadian national team. So just to produce,
you'd hope so.
Producing players from there and to that sort of expertise is it was just amazing. Like, even when he his whole aura in that position itself is just very good at the moment for such a youngster.
For a defender, he's got a lot of skill. Yeah, for a defender,
exactly. He's doing very well in that position.
I think we've got to take back what we said early in the season, Fats. We talked about the Bundesliga maybe getting a little bit boring compared to other seasons. I have to say that they've really injected some youth and some energy into the season. I think COVID's helped out because they're the only league running right now, and it seems so interesting. But you can talk about Haaland being brought in this season and stuff like that. I think they've really amped up their league this season, and it's been interesting to watch. Of course, the other team really bringing it up is Leipzig, who've held the leadership for a good sector of this season. And unfortunately, I think they self-destructed this week. They had a game against Hertha Berlin, and even though they went down 1-0 very early in the game, they were able to equalise very soon after 1-1, and they had a player sent off. They're playing 10 men, and they got an absolute steal of a goal. I don't know if you saw it, Ohms, but keeper tried to save it, got off his hands and pretty much rolled into the back of the net. So steal of a goal, and then they give away a penalty. So they sort of self-destructed, and if they had won this game, they would have been on equal points with Dortmund and fighting for that top 2 position.
It could be just the return of the league. Obviously, half these players have been playing for a while. The pressure of no crowds, the pressure of how they're at the top of the table now. This is like, I know it's induced more of a competition to the Bundesliga itself, but this is still fairly new ground for them. So like Bayern and Bayern just in general have been doing this for how many
long?
years?
Yeah.
Haven't they won like 8 years in a row or some shit?
Nah, Dortmund won recently sometime. I remember. They won recently. They could be
But
4 years or 5 years in a row.
I think last time Dortmund won
Was Klopp.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still recent. I don't think it was 8 years in a row. Or they could have won 8 years in a row in history sometime, somewhere. But for them, that Bayern dominance still exists. And I think RB Leipzig, as much as criticism that they get that they're pretty much the Man City of the German league at the moment, you just money induced and buying players as at will. It does put a lot of new competition into the league, but in my opinion, I still think the Bundesliga is boring from a sense of a competition basis. I feel like it's probably on par with La Liga at least, or even worse than that. It just feels like it's just Bayern dominant.
Or better.
Or not really, because if you look at it, Real Madrid and Barca, at least they can go head to head. Bayern Munich,
and then what after that? You got.
But them two just go head to head. Bayern Munich just buys everyone from Dortmund and then just continues its dominance.
Yeah, but who's?
That's it. That's the big difference there. But yeah, Ems?
Just to come back on Ohms, I think he's got a point here. So Bayern's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. The last time Dortmund has won it is the 2011-2012 season,
which was the Klopp season.
Yeah.
So
if they win it this year, that's 8 in a row.
8 in a row.
What a joke!
There you go. So that's what I'm trying to say. So at least from that perspective, you're looking at, like, from a La Liga perspective, you got Real Madrid and Barca. At least it's going back and forth, whether it's 3 years Barca, 3 years Real. Pick whichever one you want. Here, you just said it yourself, 7 years. 7 years in a row it's been Bayern. And they know for a fact, if they offer Haaland 150 mil, he's going. He's definitely going.
Of course he's going to go.
And
Dortmund's going to happily take that money.
They're going to happily take that money, buy a few more youngsters. Sancho will go. They'll buy another defender and a striker. They'll find another gun striker. Bayern will lick their lips and go, hectic, you're going to be ours in 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's just
pretty much a sister club.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's the youth team.
Yeah.
It's literally their new youth team. So I think that's just the way the Bundesliga is going to keep going. But again, I'll take football, then no football any day of the week.
Yeah, and congratulations to Bayern, because I think they're on 7 or 8.
They already won.
No, they're on 7 or 8 wins in a row, and that's not just domestic. They're doing well in Champions League as well. Of course, they put away Chelsea. It's a little bit, I don't know, nerve-wracking for Chelsea to come out and play against them when they're on such good form.
Well, it's gonna work throughout Europe now, because they're gonna obviously get the head start on the Champions League football and stuff, and they're gonna be more informed than half the Premier League teams that are still playing European football. To go into those games, they're going to get absolutely demolished. Now, again, I don't have hope for Chelsea, but weird as shit has happened.
At least you're still in it.
Yeah, we're still
Well, for now, but...
I don't expect us to go through, but I'll take anything. Now, moving on, boys, the big news, the massive news this week, Project Restart.
Thank fuck!
Premier League
Thank God.
has been dated to return unless there's a meteorite or an asteroid filled with coronavirus coming to Earth. June 17th. Now, that date is UK based, so for us it'll probably be June 18th.
Yep.
The first 2 games is the catch-up games, so to make sure that everyone else is on 29 games. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, and the big one, a massive return here, Man City versus Arsenal. Now, where that's going to be played, I don't think that's enlisted yet, but a big game, whether it's on neutral territory or not,
Doesn't really matter.
It's still a massive game. Now, so that will put all the teams level on 29 games played for the season. There'll be 27 points left to obtain throughout the whole season for every single one of the players. For the teams. Now, Liverpool is currently 25 points clear. So that leaves Man City to, if they lose against, again, this is just written pretty much. If Man City, actually, just before I say that, so the Premier League is also getting off to, is starting all the teams, I should say, is starting the same day as Serie A. So it's 2 massive leagues coming back on literally the same day. So it's football frenzy on that day.
And they're playing all games, right? There's no shortening of the season. All the games are being played.
No, all the games are still being played as per normal. Yeah.
Yep.
So again, now if Man City lose to Arsenal, Liverpool have a chance to win the Premier League at Everton, at Goodison Park.
Okay.
So lifting the Premier League trophy after 30 years in front of your biggest rivals at their stadium.
Take it any day.
It's massive.
It's a comeback 30 years.
Yeah, but with
is
an
the
empty
best way to do
stadium,
it.
it doesn't really
Look,
thing.
it can be an empty stadium, but I can guarantee you that outside Anfield, there's going to be a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people is going to give a shit about this at the moment.
And you know what? Just coming back on that, I think just before the break, of course, we don't know how these teams are going to start, but Arsenal was in better form than Man City was. I think Arsenal they've won their last 4 from their 5. They haven't lost in 10 games. The last time they lost was against Chelsea back in December.
Yeah, boys.
So, and Man City have had the up and down before the break. So, depending on how these teams come back, there's a good chance that it can happen.
One's 2nd, and the other's 9th. So it doesn't really fucking matter.
But if you look at the gap between Arsenal and pretty much Chelsea, which is 4th, they're still with 27 points.
Yeah, of course.
And like Emin said, the form that they're in, maybe Europa League, or maybe just sneak in if Chelsea or Leicester,
That's a big
or
ask.
Man U just suddenly drop
I don't
form.
care about that. Just beat Man City. I don't care what you do with the rest of the season.
I'm pretty sure you boys will be having your
Well, we
Arsenal
have to win.
jerseys on rent from someone or somewhere.
Yeah, Dennis, give me a jersey, land.
Now, with the Project Restart itself, so the aim is to finish the league by July 26th. Now, obviously, that would be roughly 2 to 3 months later than what it usually would have been.
Yeah.
The aim also is to run the FA Cup final on August 1st. And in the middle of the Premier League and everything like that, the FA Cup quarterfinals and semi-finals will be played throughout the Premier League. Now, it works well in a way for the European teams, or if any English teams do make the finals for the Europa League or the Champions League. At this stage, the Europa League and the Champions League is August 26th and 29th. Now, they haven't listed when when next year's season is going to start, but it seems like everyone's following suit slowly, and it's going to be very tight with that recovery stage for the players. We're looking 2 or 3 weeks and a September start, because the more you delay next season, you're going to have
play everything else from here onwards.
pretty much you're going to have a clusterfuck of a fixture. So you're going to have Premier League, FA Cup, Carling Cup, the Community Shield, Europa League, Champions League, whoever's in those times, all literally
Plus
paying.
the
Yeah.
And then you got to
Massively.
consider all the transfer seasons and stuff like that you want to bring in as well. So
I think that's the one that's going to. I reckon there's going to be a change to the transfer season this season. They're going to realize something better. And I hope that it is that the transfer market goes more into the league than it should.
yeah,
At the moment, the Premier League closes off a lot earlier than the other the other leagues at the moment. So, in my opinion, I think
it's
it
a
should
better
go.
thing.
It should go. No, it should go to maybe round 3 or round 4 of the Premier League or
Yeah.
whatever league you're in to give that adjustment.
You get to see your team play that first 3-4 weeks. At
Exactly.
least it gives you some time to do some transfers. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that should have been done before because
well, originally was like that. Originally, they used to finish on August 30th, and I believe it hit maybe a week or 2 into the Premier League, and then the Premier League decided to stop that
Yeah,
because
it's
everyone
stupid.
was just buying players left, right, and centre in the middle of at the beginning of the Premier League. But in my opinion, I think they should change that back to the normal where
they shouldn't have
you
never
can go and
changed it.
play. Yeah, so because it also gives a big disadvantage to the Premier League teams with other leagues still being able to buy
Exactly.
your players, and you can't
You
replace
can't buy
them.
no one.
Yeah.
So hopefully that does change with this whole project restart. Massively news project restart.
It's exciting. Just out of curiosity, I don't know if you boys know, but obviously there's contracts that end before August and stuff like that. What's the go with that? Are they just going to keep paying the players as they would have, or
At the moment, there is a lot of players that fall into that category,
Yeah.
and I don't think anything has been made unless the player has spoken to the club has spoken to the player or player speaking to the club. An example, and I'll use this as the biggest example, which is Willian for Chelsea. I don't think nothing's set in stone yet as to what's going to happen once his contract expires, which would be June 1st or June 30th. So I think that's going to fall down to the club and the player trying to organise something. If they're saying that it's going to finish July 26th, maybe you can buy them at a contract extension.
yep, for a couple of months or whatever?
Yeah, it'll be for 1 month.
Yeah,
Literally, or 1 or 2 months, depending on the fixtures that the clubs have remaining. So at that moment, that's still done. Also, the big thing is, do the kits change mid-season? Because this is the first time that's going to happen, because your contract would be, I reckon, June 30th.
well, if they don't change, they'll be doing Arsenal a massive favour.
with their new blood stripping kit. So yeah, all that has yet to be decided, and I would assume that it's going to fall down to their contractual agreements with the players or the corporations that they're involved in. Project Restart also is another agenda, but in a different country, Australia. Holmes. A-League. What's the update for our Australians in Australia?
All right, so now there's more noise about the A-League returning. Their aim is to restart the league in July. So now they're trying to. Their aim is to get the players back to training mid-June. I know there's a bit of a with the broadcasting rights and whether they were on board with continued season as the A-League wants to. I know that the players have also, which this is pretty huge as well for the league. What is it? The players reach a pay deal to bring the A-League return a step closer as well, which is good. This looks pretty much really it. There's nothing really set in stone at the moment. We're just waiting until either Fox Sports eventually says, okay, let's do this and start the league in July. So it's a big news. There's only 6 games left. Like they should have just finished them, man. Like
Surely with the commencing of NRL, it's going to motivate the A-League to get started.
You'd think so, but they're just dumb. Like I don't know what's happening in the background and all that stuff, but it's well, hopefully Fox Sports and the A-League can come together, pull their fingers out, finish off the league. Obviously we need more football than one league at the moment, so get football back up and running.
Yeah, well, was it this week? Sorry, or last week? The W League got cancelled, right?
The W League got cancelled, but at this stage, also a big problem in Australia at the moment is now you got stadiums left, right, and centre in the country that are being used for another sport. You look at Bankwest Stadium, for example, which also hosts the Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, 5 NRL teams that are going to be playing there. does that stadium actually have a chance to switch to a actual football game, then switch back to an NRL game so quickly? And how much damage is that going to do to the turf and stuff like that? So I don't think anyone's actually taken that into consideration unless all the codes have got together, and hence why they've only chosen 5 or 6 stadiums. Where we still got Penrith Panthers Stadium, you still got Belmore Ground and stuff like that in Sydney that aren't being used. Maybe they might opt to use that instead of trying to absolutely destroy turfs or a brand new turf.
Well, with no crowds, I don't see why you wouldn't play at some of those smaller stadiums.
Yeah, there's no point of playing at a Bank West. There's only 6 games to go. I was going to say Leica, but I think from what I heard on the radio, that they've got funding from, I don't know if it was the NRL or someone to fix to fix up Leichhardt Oval. But yeah, there's no point of A-League playing in Sydney anyway, in big stadiums. Like Sydney FC don't even have a stadium anymore because Allianz is gone. Just play it in suburban grounds. There's no supporters anyway, so because I'm pretty sure that they would have. I get that obviously the NRLs at Bank West and whatnot, but I reckon they should play in suburban grounds. Just finish off the season. 6 games left to go. Just finish it off.
I'm pretty sure Fox Sports will want to get that done ASAP. They've missed out on a lot of sports over the last 2 or 3 months. So if there's anything that's been held up, I'm sure that they'll get it resolved, and we'll have
let's hope so.
A-League back on pretty much the same time, or maybe roughly a bit earlier than the EPL if they can get their shit together. Is that it, boys?
That's a wrap, I think.
All right, just before we close it off, now we're starting a new segment last week, Football News for the Week, and that was just summarising and touching base on topics that obviously don't make the podcast and that just sort of whiffle through the media in most of the times. So obviously the big one, I've left it on here because it's just a worth a re-mention. Actually, just before I get into it, so this is your football news for the week in under 2 to 3 minutes. All right, so Premier League is back June 17th. Yay. Everton midfielder, I forgot, is it Gambin or Gambambin? I can't say his last name. It's Gbamin. So I'm going to say Bamin. He added further setbacks to his recovery by damaging his Achilles tendon by playing foot tennis. AAF Aarhus, a Danish super club, has let 10,000 fans cheer them on via Zoom on an artificial grandstand. So they had games playing, and on the massive screen there was the supporters on the Zoom channels going up and down. Brendan Rodgers reportedly wants to reunite with Liverpool midfielder Adam Lallana at Leicester City.
Take him.
Barcelona are desperately trying to offload Ousmane Dembele by reducing his costs significantly. Now, originally they asked for 100 million. Now they've pretty much taken off 50% of that.
He's a liability.
They're trying to get rid of him ASAP. Kante, now we mentioned him last week. He wasn't training with the team due to his potential health issue, but he's actually returned to individual training. So he's not with the club himself, but he's actually come back. So that's a good moving forward for that player and that club. Yay.
Who cares about that club?
Galatasaray is reportedly linked with Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. Okay, so he's currently off contract at the moment, and he's also linked with Arsenal and Tottenham. Now,
I'm sure he's not going to come to Galatasaray if he's linked with them too.
The term that he has stated is if they play Champions League football, he will sign with them. La Liga will be broadcast throughout June for free on Sky Sports with a June 8 restart potentially. So any games that are coming back or anything like that, they're going to start broadcasting it for free. Now, if you're in Australia, we're not telling you to get a VPN and to log in on the UK server and to watch it for free. We're not telling you that. And the last one as well is the Turkish Super League is returning on June 12th.
Yeah.
And that's your football news. Is under whatever 2 to 3 minutes that was. Okay, boys, that is it from me. Ohms, you got anything more to add?
Oh, probably about the EPL just before we go.
Mm-hmm.
They've all, the clubs have all agreed for contact and training, which is good.
The full contact training?
Yeah.
About time, considering they're going to be defending each other in corners.
Exactly.
I don't see that as a fucking issue.
Dortmund's listened to what we said last week.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
listened to us, I think.
Yeah, they listened to us. They didn't like they liked our idea of,
Common sense.
Common sense. So if corners are being defended, I'm pretty sure it's okay to celebrate.
Same thing with the NRL. If guys are tackling each other and rubbing on each other for 2 minutes every 5 seconds, then I think we can do some reporting by the media that's not 1.5 meters apart. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's a joke.
Exactly right. Ems, down to you.
Yeah, guys, just remember to hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. The support helps us out a lot. And as always, guys, stay offside.